Barb with Inspire Me 360, and in this video I want to talk about resilience. And man, my hair's all messed up today, but that's fine. The aspect of when life gets a little tough, you need to kind of lean in. So I am doing this series of advice that I would give to my daughter, I guess my son, my children, if I had them, and really developing an attitude of determination and resilience, I think, is one of the most powerful skills that you can develop in terms of your own character. And I want to kind of bring this up because this past month has been extremely trying for me. It's like the world just keeps bombarding me with, you know, another curveball or another mountain to climb or whatever it is. And we went through this as a sort of a global consciousness with COVID in terms of things being very overwhelming and not knowing how to navigate things. And, you know, that was 2 years of that. Okay. And I think a lot of, especially business owners, but, you know, anybody that existed through this period of history kind of got to the point where we're like, okay, we really can't handle much more of this. And again, I deal with a lot of young people. I deal with a lot of people that are trying to start businesses, entrepreneurs, people that are in transition periods in their life. And what I really want to establish and impart in this video is that we have to have an aspect of resilience, and we need, especially in modern society, because there are so many modern conveniences. What I've noticed is a lot of individuals have forgotten grit, just that ability to push through, to move through obstacles and to keep going. And this attitude is what separates people that achieve their dreams and do incredible things from people that do not, you know, fail to launch, essentially. And nobody is a failure. I want to be really, really clear on this. And everybody has their different paths in terms of life and what they're going to achieve. And the achievements that one person is going to make, in contrast to where another person is going to go, doesn't mean that one or the other is better. So again, let's bring it back to the example of having children. Okay, I don't have children, but in the case that perhaps I did, I might have, you know, one daughter that was, you know, very, very much a go-getter, driven, you know, wanted to pursue her dreams. And I might have a son that was maybe a little bit lazy and, you know, wanted to party a little more and was not focused in the same way. It doesn't mean that one child is less valuable than the other child. It's just that they're two individuals on two individual paths, and they're both going to bring something unique and special to life. But undoubtedly, having perseverance and sticking to a certain path will create more momentum. And I want to be a bit structured with, you know, when I get on these videos and I'm just talking, you know, I don't have a script. I'm just kind of going from the ether, so to speak. But what I can tell you in terms of my own life path is that when you jump around from project to project and you basically give up too soon, this is where you have a lot of false starts. Okay, it's a lack of resilience. When the going gets tough, okay, I know this is kind of a cliche, the tough get going. You've got to dig in your heels. You've got to give it that extra 10, 20, 30%. And yeah, you're going to be tired. I mean, I look tired today. I know I do. I can see myself in the camera. And it's been weeks and weeks of this, but I don't complain. I don't get down about it. If I have to, you know, put in that extra 6 hours a night, or if I've got to be starting work at 3 in the morning, or whatever it means to create greatness in the projects that I am working towards, I'm going to do that thing. I'm going to go the extra mile. And this is what resilience is all about. It's about not feeling sorry for yourself. It's about looking at the situation that's in front of you, grabbing the bull by the horn, being a baby about it. okay? And the thing is, it's easy to complain. It's easy to find a million reasons why the world is being hard on you or tough on you, okay? That's easy. And that's sort of the ego's way of saying, okay, I'm gonna let myself off the hook here. I'm gonna find a million reasons why life's too hard. I have anxiety, I'm a little bit depressed, I'm not looking the way I want, so I'm not gonna do this. Or, you know what, I got a raw deal. Life didn't put a silver spoon in my mouth, therefore, or, my mom did this, my father did this, I had this, shitty thing happen to me. We can all make lists like this, okay? But what we have to realize about it is that we're only hurting ourselves with this laundry list of reasons why we are not able to achieve our dreams. So one of the best things that we can do is chuck that list out the window and put one foot in front of the other and get it done. I did construction for many years when I was in high school. I worked with an artist who was also doing drywalling, and we did these really cool plastered ceilings and huge wall murals. And it was tough. I mean, I was working night shifts, so I was working, I got out of high school, and then we'd load up the scaffolding and we'd load up all the drills and you name it, and we'd head to the job site. And it was not easy work. I mean, we were scaling scaffolding, we were carrying heavy buckets of mud. I live up in Canada, it's freaking cold here. We're hauling in pieces of plywood, at 3 a.m. And man, I was tired. I would come home from a night shift during, high school, covered in drywall dust, in my coveralls, just little tiny slits of you could just barely see through it because of all of the drywall dust. And you know what, it wasn't easy to go to high school and have a night job doing construction, and especially being a woman, being a woman on these job sites, it wasn't an easy environment to be necessarily going into. But I learned a lot, and I learned a lot about my own resilience and the fact that I'm a machine. I can work. I mean, I can work all day, I can work all night, and I can keep this up. It's a consistent thing that I was able to really just entrench into my character, is this ability to push through the regular barriers that society has set up for us. So society tells you, okay, you need to stop work at 4 o'clock, and your body needs a certain amount of sleep, and you can't do a day shift and a night shift consistently, that you will burn out. And you know what, I didn't burn out. I still haven't burnt out. And there's tricks and tips that I utilize. I'll take little mini naps in the day, and I learned to sleep like a plank on a piece of plywood with my coveralls on. But what I'm trying to say is, I wasn't a baby about things. I didn't look at the landscape of my life and say, you know what, we're shopping at the Salvation Army, and all the other kids in school, they have their moms and dads pay for things and this and that. And I didn't sit there at 14 years old and feel sorry for myself about what I didn't have. I looked at what I did have, which was my hands, my feet, my strength, my intelligence, my ability to work hard, and I busted my ass. And basically, by the time I was 17, I bought my first house. And that is resilience. That is that attitude to say, you know what, I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna do it right. Okay, and I'm gonna layer another lesson on here, okay? Because especially in this era of OnlyFans and all this stuff, I can't even understand, okay? But it's like a lot of women take the easy way out. They say, well, you know what, I can sell my soul to essentially get money and resources and being able to take care of yourself and provide for your family. That's a great thing, but you don't have to sell your soul to do it. You might have to work a little harder if you want to achieve certain dreams. Yeah, you're gonna have to get some grit. You're gonna have to work some long hours, but you're gonna be proud of what you create in the end. And so the point I'm trying to make is that, I wanted the beautiful house, I wanted the cabin, I wanted the fancy cars, I wanted the nice clothes, all of those things too. Not at the expense of others and not at the expense of my own self-worth. Okay, I wanted those things, but I went about getting them in a way that felt really good. Okay, and I want to again expand on this. So what do I mean by this? Well, I'd work 2 or 3 jobs, 4 jobs sometimes, and I put money away. I didn't spend stupidly. I bought property. I used a certain amount of intelligence. I read books. I read every single book I could. I went to university. I went to career college. I learned things. So, in my time, I may not have always, not everything I did ended up being my end goal in terms of my career. But I always sought out knowledge before anything else. And I also knew that I wasn't going to take advantage of other people to get where I wanted to go, because at the end of the day, I had to sit with myself. I had to sit with the choices that I had made. And I also knew that, coming from a place where things weren't handed to me, that part of the dynamic of the human interaction and the human connection is this element of you have to care about others around you. You have to bring others up, and that is part of growing up in poverty in a way, is that people that are impoverished do go the extra mile to help each other out because they don't have a lot of resources. Okay, there's really not, there's a sense of lack. So when there's a sense of lack, they understand lack, and therefore people tend to be a little bit more giving because they understand not having a lot. Okay, now growing up with a lot of affluence where things were given to you, I can't understand that because I didn't experience that. I can't speak to it. I can only speak to the observation of others I have seen that had a lot given to them. And what I noticed is a certain amount of entitlement and a certain amount of focus to the self. Like they don't necessarily have the same level of compassion for others. Not that I'm saying this is pervasive in every case, but because things are really given to them quite easily, and also they can throw a temper tantrum, and the quickest way to fix that is to, again, give a thing or, give that small child what they want. It can create a less humble, kind, giving, compassionate individual in their adult life. Not to say that can't be fixed. Everything in terms of once we get into our adulthood, once we are completely on our own, can be adjusted, and we can work through the mechanism of self-transformation and self-help to propel ourselves into a better semblance of the construct of who we are and how we're showing up. But in terms of this particular video and the grit and resilience and that ability to give a little more, do a little more to achieve the things that you want to achieve, again, I would tell my sons and my daughters, if I had them, to buck up a little bit. Don't be so easy to quit. When we are consistent in our behavior, when we keep knocking, when we keep pursuing our passion and our dream with this state of determination, it gets rewarded eventually. And it's sometimes a long road. To take the high road is a long road. Okay, it's not going to be that quick fix. It's not that McDonald's, go through the drive-through and here's your happy pill. It doesn't work that way. Okay, the good stuff, the really, really good stuff in life, it takes the aspect of building, because again, that's how we learn. When things come too easy, if things are just handed to us, we don't see the value in them. And that is the inherent lesson, is that we have to learn the unfoldment of our own character. We are here on planet Earth to learn about ourselves and to learn about what we like, what our purpose is, what our passion is. Shakespeare said, know thyself. This is important. You need to actually get to know who and what you are. aspect of this resilience, this grit, this momentum that will keep you moving forward is the idea, or is the concept, that when you know in your heart what you are meant to do, when you know in your heart where you are going, okay, and there's a purpose behind it. I had this conversation with this amazing young girl named Emmy yesterday, and she was wondering about, what path to take in her life. And we charted it out. We looked at, where she wants to go and what she wants to do and why. And she said, she's hoping to make $10,000 a month. And I said, that's really cool. That's awesome that you have this desire for abundance. But here's another layer to that. Where's your why? Why do you want to create that? What is it that you're creating that's going to help make the world a better place? Because if you know what you are creating is going to make the world a better place, it has value for others, it is helping the collective, then first of all, you're going to feel really good about what you're doing. And when you feel really good about what you're doing, and you know from the core of your soul that you are creating this momentum that is helping others and doing good, you have this reserve of energy that you can't even imagine where it's going to come from. Like it's almost like this God force energy. When you are doing the right things and you're doing them the right way, and when you just have to kind of lean in for that extra hour at 2 a.m, but you know it's going to help a ton of people, and you know that it's going to make a difference, you get that energy. But again, when we look at some of the examples of individuals that are kind of service to self, when it's all about money, it's all about greed, it's all about sex that is, it's frivolous sex. Basically we were watching The Wolf of Wall Street on the weekend, and it's just like, I couldn't even watch it. I had to turn it off after an hour. I'm just like, this is insanity. Like, why are we glorifying this kind of disgusting behavior? I mean, there was a certain amount of it that was like, okay, yeah, I can find it funny for like 2 minutes, and then I'm like, this is gross. This is like the 80s mentality on steroids, just making a muck of planet Earth. Like that's why we're cutting down all the rainforests. That's why we're losing these beautiful species on our planet, is because there's a bunch of people, a bunch of idiots in the stock market snorting cocaine off somebody's butt. Like, and I'm sorry that I'm being a little bit forthcoming in these videos, but I'm gonna be real. Like, if that's the kind of stuff that you're engaging with, okay, if you are spending time in your evenings or on your weekends or during your week, and trust me, I've had spouses, my first fiance, this is what he did, hanging out in strip clubs, doing God knows what. Nothing becomes of that behavior. Nothing becomes of that party lifestyle. I've never partied in my life. I've celebrated with people that I love. I've had deep conversations, and I've danced, and I've loved, and I've been on a beach, and I've done those kind of good things. But never have I wasted my precious consciousness and my mind and my spirit on something vacuous that is not going to amount to something positive in my everyday life. Okay, and so again, we are what we create. We are the actions, we are the energy that we bring forth into the manifestation that we see as what is out manifesting in our lives. And if we're lazy, and if we are not giving it 110%, and if we're walking past that piece of garbage, on the floor that we could have put in the garbage bin at our jobs, we are not doing our best and being our best. In every single moment of every single moment of my waking life, this is the best way to put it, I am going to give 100%. And there's times where I'm like, oh, I'm a bit tired. I don't want to sweep the floor. I just made dinner. Oh my God. I'm like, can't I just have a minute off? And then I think, is this my best? Is this my best? And how would cleaning up my entire kitchen set me up for tomorrow? So then I'm going to change the energy. I'm going to give it a little bit more. I'm going to push to be my best. And that is the spirit. That is the spirit of like digging in there and You know, that's what built North America. Do you think that our grandparents and our great grandparents that came across, you know, on wagons on the prairies and built log homes, do you think that they complained that, you know, maybe the temperature was too cold, or, you know, when they were out trading with the indigenous people? There's a super cool story my great grandma told me about her parents leaving her. They had a sod hut, and she was left for like a week because they had to go get supplies, and it was up to her to keep the house, and it was up to her to I think she was like 7 or 11, I can't remember the exact age, but she told me the story of this indigenous tribe. And again, I want to be clear, on the other side of my mom's family, we actually have indigenous roots, so I am not being in any way disrespectful here, because I do have indigenous roots in my genealogy as well, but this was from my Scottish side. So my great grandma actually was trading, you know, as a young girl. The indigenous people came to the sod hut, and she was a little bit nervous, but she came out and she traded butter for some, you know, moccasins and some different clothing items. And again, very, very brave young woman, and very, very brave feminine spirit. And, you know, this is another thing, right? We have lost so much of this honor, this ability to be adventurous, you know, be courageous, face things. I see so much of the entitlement of the generations that are coming from having a tremendous amount of ease and abundance and wealth, just have no motivation. And the motivation is like, let's take selfies and let's party and let's, like, what? Like, what are you creating? Like, what? We have to, as a human family, get back to creating the infrastructure of correct values, because it is a really, really, really slippery slope we're headed down. It is a really slippery slope. And if we don't bolster up the younger generations to know their capabilities, and if we don't stretch them in a way that they come to exercise their own capabilities, we are going to have a bunch of individuals that cannot run this world, and things will fall apart. So again, having a certain amount of expectation, having a certain amount of grit. If you don't have that infrastructure within your own family, then you've got to start building it yourself. Self-help books, you know, podcasts, listening, cognitive behavioral therapy, doing the work, looking yourself in the mirror, and getting down to business and making yourself the very best version you could ever imagine, and not being a wimp about it, not crying about every little thing that doesn't go your way. You know, it's like we have no attention span now. I see people, they have to stand in a line for 10 minutes and they're blowing a hissy fit, and it's like, really? Do you know how things worked like 100 years ago, where sometimes people had to stand in lines for, you know, 10 days to get entrance into a country when they were immigrating? Like, you need to chill out, and you need to look at the scope of what our ancestors and the people that built the countries that we live in endured to create this ease for us. Stop being spoiled, stop being entitled, and do some good heavy lifting for yourself so that you can create a person that you're actually proud to look in the mirror at. Like, this is the work, this is what you've got to do. So again, this is what I would tell my kids. They're going to get these hard lectures from Mama Bear. You know, I'm going to drill it into them. You know, I'm a tough person to work for sometimes, and I'm a tough feminine spirit. But a little bit of this toughness is what creates, a little bit of that pressure creates the diamond. I hate to say it, but we need to sometimes have this structure around us so that we reach a little farther, we do a little bit better. So I'm going to sign off on this video. Hope you all have an amazing day.